we will be having Jennifer from Samsung Health. And Jennifer, if you would please give an intro to yourself to the audience.
I am Senior Manager of Partnerships and Business Development at Samsung Health, and we're part of the digital health team based here in the US.
Awesome. Yeah. And as we know, the topic of this symposium is around JP Morgan and CES. I know that you attended CES. So I wanted to get from your perspective, why are conferences like CES important for professionals in health and wellness industries? And how do you feel like these conferences contribute to staying informed and connected with this rapidly evolving landscape?
Sure. So CES is a tremendous opportunity to learn about the major players in technology in a hands-on way, all in the same place. And it helps you to consider the impact that some of these technologies may have on health and well-being, and whether or not they're implicitly built for that purpose. I think about how technology just surrounds us, and it rapidly changes our culture and our relationships with one another. And even the operations of our daily lives. And so the question becomes, how do we stay ahead of that change and the implications it may have towards our health and well-being? Being there in person, there's something about trying things out for yourself that you can't quite simulate or explain on a website or a slide deck. So definitely being there in person was a fantastic experience, as well as engaging with all of the folks around you as they also engage with the technologies. It opens your eyes to other possibilities and user experiences that you yourself, haven't come up with.
Yeah. And kind of, at these conferences, we know there's a lot of like exhibit booths and like how do conferences, like CES facilitate industry collaboration and networking? And can you share some examples of like valuable connections and partnerships that have emerged from your participation in such conferences?
Sure. So just to set the stage, and this has probably already been discussed today since I'm the last one, but there were 135,000 attendees at CES. And not to mention that there were great distances between some of the conference venues. Like one day I got in almost 20,000 steps just being at the conference. So you have to do your planning in advance. So that being said, it's easy enough to find your tribe. So if I'm looking for digital health folks like myself, there are tours that are specific to digital health. There are also networking events, of course. You can also purchase a separate track specific to digital health, and it would allow you access to a digital health summit that was actually running concurrently with the conference.
Oh.
And then in terms of connections and partnerships, I won't mention any specifics, but I can tell you that in the weeks leading up to CES, I was already networking with folks who had planned to attend, and then meeting them again in person. Of course, that just made that that connection a lot deeper. And then, of course, there are lots of people who I've already met in person, and so it was just like one more touch point and one more shared experience that further opens the door for future collaborations. So.
Well, and actually on that topic of collaborations, I would love to have the opportunity to speak about the collaboration with Age Tech Collaborative from AARP to create the Samsung Health House. So if you would please share your screen with us and walk us through that experience. I've been waiting to hear about this from you.
Sure, absolutely. Great. I wanted to share this New Yorker cartoon that I just came across yesterday. So speaking about how technology changes our culture with the emergence of the smartphone, many of us in my generation were kind of taken aback when somebody actually calls you instead of texts you. So that's kind of the essence of this New Yorker cartoon right here. And it seems to have spread where it may have started with younger generations. It seems like it's become the cultural norm now just to send a text instead of picking up the phone and calling. So I just wanted to talk about the cultural shift there. So in terms of the collaboration we had with the Age Tech Collaborative, just to kind of level set, the vision for Samsung Health is really to build a healthier future for everyone and make that inclusive. So our partnership with Age Tech Collaborative had that vision in mind as well. So in case people in the audience don't know about HTech Collaborative, it's a startup accelerator focused on technologies that empower people to choose how they live as they age. So this picture right here shows the Samsung Health House as featured in the HTech Collaborative booth at CES. And it's meant to illustrate how innovation can help those folks age at home. AARP has a statistic that says 77% of adults want to age at home. So Samsung Health, we provide enabling technologies and solutions for age tech startups that demonstrate the power of our ecosystem to deliver connected and sustainable healthcare experiences centered around aging at home. So we put together this house to illustrate how a connected home filled with smart appliances, sensors, passive monitoring, and opportunities for cognitive, socio-emotional, and physical activity can support older adults age in place safely as well as vibrantly. And then there are activations with clinical teams and non-professional caregivers as well that are possible when needed. And we aim to provide this in a seamless experience. So just to take you through the house, this is the living room. There's an interactive game board on the coffee table there. There's sensors on the wall that can detect things like elevated temperature, elevated blood pressure, heart rate, etc. In the kitchen here, we have Samsung appliances. So some of the smart appliances, you might be able to get an alert, for example, that your mom who doesn't live with you has opened the refrigerator at 3 a.m. And it might be something you want to ask about, like, oh, mom, you didn't sleep well last night, like what's going on? So it's really aimed to monitor somebody, but in a non-invasive way where you're not placing a camera in the home. And just to take you further through the house, there's a smart bed that detects vibration. So while you're sleeping, if you're snoring, it'll elevate the head of the bed for you until it detects that you're no longer snoring. There are some ambient sensors in the room as well, again, detecting some of the vital signs and any fluctuations that may occur there. And then here in the bathroom, some of the technology here, there's a smart toilet seat that takes your blood pressure every time you sit on the toilet seat. There's also a scale that gives you a balance score so you can see, what your fall risk is any given time of the day. And you can then associate it with things like medication or other activities that may affect balance, such as when you first get out of bed, your blood pressure may be low, for example. And these are the 10 companies that were featured within the Samsung Health House. The HTech Collaborative actually has a portfolio of over 120 companies, but these are the 10 that were featured. And in the middle here is sort of a prototype that we developed for CES, just showing how all of these various technologies, smart appliances, can be seen on a dashboard for the caregiver so that they can easily see how their loved one is doing just in one glance.
Wow, this is amazing. And this was, you had this whole display at the CES conference, correct?
Yes. Yeah,
That is so cool.
it was very interactive and it just sparked a lot of conversation. People would tell you their personal stories about maybe their aging loved one or experiences that they've had as caregivers, and how this technology could have been helpful during those times.
Yeah. Well, this is literally, I feel like what the CES conference is all about is kind of showcasing different technologies and digital health tools like this. And so I'm super excited to see what this will take us into the new year with Samsung Health and really kind of elevating that wearables and, that the ability to really be able to monitor health to a new level. So thank you so much, Jennifer, for sharing that with us. And we definitely need to keep an eye out for this moving forward into the new year.
Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone at HITLAB for this opportunity.